Meet Krex the Mighty. 7 feet of scaled muscle, razor-sharp claws, and an ego the size of a small moon. He's what you'd get if a crocodile hit the gym for 20 years and developed a serious attitude problem. Right now, he's crouched behind a dumpster in suburban Ohio, which is already doing wonders for his reputation as the galaxy's most feared bounty hunter. The job seemed simple enough. The Galactic Council wanted specimens of this new species they'd discovered, called humans, for their fancy zoo on Centauri Prime. According to the briefing, humans were supposed to be these adorable, harmless creatures that made cute noises and were absolutely no threat whatsoever. Easy money, right? Wrong. Krex watches as his target emerges from what the research files called a learning institution, but looks more like a prison compound. The human cub is smaller than expected, maybe 12 Earth years old, wearing something called sneakers and carrying a rectangular device that apparently contains all of human knowledge. The kid has messy brown hair and the kind of expression that suggests he's already done with whatever's about to happen. This should be simple. Krex takes a deep breath, activates his intimidation protocols, and steps out from behind the dumpster with his most terrifying roar. Zgaraha! Hear me, tiny human! I am Krex the Mighty, scourge of the 7 systems. The kid looks up from his phone, blinks once, and says, "Dude, are you okay? You sound like you've swallowed a kazoo." Krex's roar dies in his throat. This was not in the manual. What? No! You're supposed to cower in terror. Why would I do that? Tommy asks. Because of course his name is Tommy. It's the most human name possible. Are you having some kind of medical emergency? Should I call someone? Medical emergency! Krex's voice cracks a little. I am an apex predator. I have conquered entire star systems. Tommy looks him up and down with the kind of clinical assessment that only 12-year-olds can manage. Okay, but when's the last time you had water? You look dehydrated. Also, is that natural sunlight bothering you? Your scales look kind of ashy. And that's how Krex the Mighty, terror of the galaxy, found himself receiving skincare advice from his intended victim. Look, mister, Tommy pauses expectantly. Krex the Mighty, he supplies weakly. Right, Mr. Krex. I get that you're probably new to Earth and everything, but the whole threatening children thing is super illegal here. Mega illegal. Are you sure you wouldn't rather just grab some lunch and talk about whatever's bothering you? Krex stares at this tiny human who's treating him like a confused substitute teacher instead of a galactic menace. His intimidation training never covered this scenario. Nowhere in advanced terrification techniques did they mention what to do when your target offers you emotional support. I'm supposed to capture you, he admits, feeling ridiculous. For what? The zoo. Tommy nods thoughtfully. That explains the whole dramatic entrance thing. But just so you know, kidnapping is also super illegal. Plus, I've got algebra homework, and trust me, you don't want to be responsible for me missing that. Mrs. Peterson is way scarier than you. Krex the Mighty, scourge of 7 systems, conqueror of worlds, feels his professional confidence crumbling under the weight of a human child's casual indifference. This was supposed to be the easy job. 20 minutes later, Krex finds himself in the bizarre position of trying to explain galactic law to someone who keeps interrupting with questions about his dental hygiene. So you're telling me, Tommy says, unwrapping what he calls a granola bar and offering half to a 7-foot lizard warrior, that there's this whole space government, and they decided humans would make good pets? Not pets, Krex protests, accepting the granola bar because his blood sugar is crashing. Exhibition specimens, it's completely different, very dignified. Right, and you're like what, space animal control? The comparison stings because it's uncomfortably accurate. I'm a bounty hunter. I track down dangerous criminals and adorable zoo animals. The pay is good, Kex mutters. Tommy nods sympathetically. Hey, no judgment. We've all got bills to pay. But just so you know, the whole intimidation thing needs work. You might want to try a different approach. That's when Krex makes his second attempt at proper predator behavior. He draws himself up to his full 7 feet, extends his claws, and lets out what should be a bone-chilling hiss. Perhaps you would prefer to meet your doom the hard way, small human. Tommy pulls out his phone and starts recording. Okay, but could you do that again? My friend Marcus is never going to believe this without video evidence. Stop filming me. Are you camera shy? That's actually kind of adorable. Before Krex can process the psychological damage of being called adorable, his communicator chirps. The holographic image of Commander Zilch materializes between them, all tentacles and bureaucratic incompetence. Rex, status report. Have you secured the human specimen? Tommy waves at the hologram. Hi there. Are you Crake's boss? Yes. Who is this tiny creature? I'm Tommy. Nice to meet you, sir. Commander Zilch tentacles fluttered in what might be excitement. Extraordinary! Crex, this is perfect. The human cub has already bonded with you. The council will be thrilled with this cultural exchange program. Cultural exchange what now? Both Crex and Tommy say simultaneously. Brilliant work, Crex. Obviously you've established yourself as a parental figure to facilitate the transition. Very progressive thinking. The council loves progressive thinking. Wait, hold on, Cake starts. But Zilch is already warming to his theme. Yes, this is much better than simple capture. A willing human participant in an educational exchange. Crex, you're to serve as the human's guardian during the integration process. Congratulations on your promotion to cultural liaison. The hologram flickers out, leaving Crex staring at the empty air in horror. So, Tommy says cheerfully, I'm guessing that's not what you expected to happen. I don't know how to be a cultural liaison. I don't even know what that means. Well, what does a guardian do? Crex thinks about it. Protect their young, provide food and shelter, teach them important survival skills. See? You've got this. Although I should probably mention that humans have some pretty specific dietary requirements. Like, we can't photosynthesize. You can't what? Make food from sunlight. I know, we're super high maintenance. Crex stares at this small human who has somehow become his responsibility through a series of cosmic misunderstandings. His carefully planned career as a feared bounty hunter is evaporating faster than water on a desert planet. So, what do humans eat? He asks weakly. Tommy grins. Well, pizza's always a good start. Do you guys have pizza in space? 30 minutes later, Crex is having an existential crisis in the parking lot of Tony's Pizza Palace, while Tommy explains the finer points of human nutrition to a reptilian warrior who once conquered the vegan system. See, humans are omnivores, Tommy says, watching Crex frantically take notes on a device that looks like it was designed by someone who'd never seen a pen before. That means we eat both plants and meat, but not like raw meat. We're super picky about food safety. Food safety, Crex mutters, stylus clicking. Right, and pizza contains both plant and meat matter? Depends on the toppings. Pepperoni is meat, vegetables are plants. It's like a complete meal, in circle form. Very efficient. Crex looks genuinely impressed. Your species has engineered nutritionally complete, circular food delivery systems? I mean, that's one way to put it. The pizza arrives courtesy of a very confused delivery driver who takes one look at Crex and decides that weird Tuesday nights in Ohio aren't worth minimum wage plus tips. Tommy handles the transaction like he orders food for 7-foot space lizards every day. So, Tommy says, demonstrating proper pizza consumption techniques, what's your ship like? Please tell me it has decent Wi-Fi. What is Wi-Fi? Oh boy, okay, we've got some cultural exchange to do. 2 hours later, they're sitting in Crex's ship, which Tommy has described as like if someone took a museum and made it really uncomfortable. Crex is discovering that human entertainment is both completely insane and oddly compelling. Explain to me again why the small yellow creatures worship the large blue monster, Crex says, staring at Tommy's tablet. They're not worshipping him, they work for him. It's called Monsters, Inc. It's about how scary monsters are actually just regular people with jobs. That's surprisingly relatable, right? Plus, the kid in the movie isn't scared of the monster either. Humans are just like that. Crex pauses the movie. Just like what? Adaptable. We see something new, and we're like, okay, how does this work? What do I need to know, and can we be friends? It's probably why your space council thinks we'd make good zoo animals. We're friendly, but not helpless. Oh no, definitely not helpless. Did you know humans are one of the only species that can run for hours without stopping? We used to hunt by just following prey until they collapsed from exhaustion. Crex looks at Tommy with new respect. Endurance predators. Yep, also we sweat, which is gross but super effective for cooling. Most animals have to stop and pant, we just keep going. That's actually terrifying. Thanks. Oh, and we can eat stuff that's poisonous to most other animals, like chocolate and caffeine. Crex is taking notes again. Your species consumes poison for pleasure. Mild poison, the dose makes the difference. Want to try some chocolate? 20 minutes later, Crex is experiencing his first sugar rush and having what can only be described as revelations about the nature of existence. This is incredible. he says, bouncing slightly. How do you function with this energy surge? Practice, Tommy says. Also, you might want to pace yourself. Sugar crashes are rough. Sugar crashes? What goes up must come down. Basic physics. As if on cue, Krex's energy levels plummet, and he slumps against the pilot's seat. Oh, this is less pleasant. Yeah, that's why we don't give chocolate to dogs. Their metabolism can't handle it. You have creatures that can't process your recreational poison. Dogs aren't just creatures. They're family. We've been partners for thousands of years. They hunt with us, guard our homes, provide emotional support. Some humans love their dogs more than other humans. Krex considers this. So humans form pack bonds with other species. All the time. Cats, horses, birds, fish. We've even got emotional attachments to plants. Plants? People get really upset when their houseplants die. Krex stares at Tommy for a long moment. Your species is completely insane. Ha, yeah, but in a fun way. Speaking of which, wanna watch the sequel? It's about the monsters going to college. And that's how Krex the Mighty, terror of 7 systems, spent his evening learning about human higher education through animated films, slowly realizing that maybe, just maybe, he was getting attached to his accidental human cub. 3 weeks into what Commander Zilch insists on calling the Cultural Exchange Initiative, Krex discovers that having a human sidekick is actually improving his professional performance, which is both wonderful and deeply concerning for his reputation. Okay, so the target is holed up in that asteroid mining station, Krex explains, pointing at his tactical display. Heavily armed, multiple escape routes, and he's got hostages. Tommy studies the schematic while eating what he calls space cereal, which is just regular cereal that Krex bought from a space truck stop. Classic standoff scenario. What's your usual approach? Direct assault. Intimidate the guards, blast through the defenses, corner the target. And how's that been working for you? Krex considers his recent mission reports. Mixed results. Lots of property damage. Several lawsuits. Right, so here's what we're going to do instead. Tommy pulls up the station's personnel files. See, humans are really good at pattern recognition. Your target, Vex the Destroyer, always uses the same 3 escape routes, but look at the timing of his previous escapes. Ace always runs during shift changes, Krex realizes. Exactly. And look at the hostage profiles. He only takes people who have families, because he knows authorities won't risk civilian casualties. But here's the thing he doesn't know about humans. Tommy grins, and Krex is learning to recognize that expression as either brilliant or terrifying, possibly both. We're really, really good at coordinated problem solving. 2 hours later, Krex watches in amazement as Tommy somehow convinces the mining station's entire security force to stage a fake equipment malfunction that forces Vex into the one escape route he's never used, where Krex is waiting with what Tommy calls aggressive negotiation. How did you do that? Krex asks as they load the captured bounty into the ship. I told them the truth, that Vex was dangerous, that people were in trouble, and that we had a plan that would save everyone without anyone getting hurt. Humans like being heroes. But they don't even know you. Doesn't matter. Humans help other humans. It's kind of our thing. That's when Agent Flores shows up. Agent Flores is what happens when a government bureaucrat gets really confused about their job description and decides to wing it. She's been tracking the unregistered alien activity in Ohio for weeks, and she's got questions. So let me get this straight, she says, standing in Krex's ship with the kind of determination that only comes from having absolutely no idea what you're dealing with. You're an alien bounty hunter and you've been living with a 12-year-old boy? Cultural exchange program, Krex says defensively. And Tommy's parents are okay with this because? They're anthropologists, Tommy explains. They're in Antarctica studying penguin migration patterns. They think I'm staying with my aunt. Are you staying with your aunt? Technically, Krex is sort of like an aunt. A 7-foot reptilian aunt with anger management issues. I do not have anger management issues, Krex protests. You threatened to disintegrate the pizza guy because he forgot the extra cheese. Extra cheese was specified in the order. Agent Flores looks between them with the expression of someone whose job description definitely didn't include this. And the government is just supposed to be okay with an unregistered alien raising a human child? Well, Tommy says thoughtfully, what's the alternative? Put me in foster care while Krex goes to jail for illegal immigration? That seems like a lot of paperwork for everyone involved. Plus, Krex adds, getting into the spirit of things, Tommy's teaching me about human culture. Did you know you people domesticated wolves just because you thought they were cute? That's not exactly why we domesticated wolves. Also, you invented cheese by accident and then built entire civilizations around it. Agent Flores sits down heavily. This is not what I expected when I took this job. Yeah, humans are weird like that, Tommy says sympathetically. We tend to complicate things. But look at it this way. You're probably the first government agent to successfully make contact with a friendly alien species. That's got to look good on a performance review. Friendly alien species? Rex is basically a soccer mom with scales and a spaceship. He makes me eat vegetables and worries when I stay up too late watching movies. I do not worry. I simply maintain optimal conditions for human development. You bought me nightlights because you were concerned about my sleep cycle. Human sleep patterns are very delicate. Agent Flores watches this exchange with growing fascination. You two actually care about each other. He's my human, Krex says, and then pauses as he realizes what he just said. He's my space dad, Tommy adds cheerfully. It's unconventional, but it works. That's when the real bonding moment happens. A proximity alarm starts blaring, and 3 vegan separatist ships drop out of hyperspace, apparently very upset about Krex's recent success in their territory. Oh, great, Krex mutters, moving toward the weapons console. Tommy, get to the escape pods. Or, Tommy says, already pulling up the ship's communication array, I could try talking to them. Absolutely not. These are hardened criminals with no respect for civilized discourse. They're also probably really frustrated about their political situation. Sometimes people just need someone to listen to their concerns. Tommy, no. Tommy, yes. Before Krex can stop him, Tommy opens a channel to the lead ship. Hi there, I'm Tommy. I understand you're upset about the Vex situation, but maybe we can work something out? What follows is the most surreal 15 minutes of Krex's career, as Tommy somehow mediates a peace negotiation between 3 pirate ships and a government bounty hunter, gets everyone to agree to a prisoner exchange that satisfies all parties, and ends up with an invitation to visit the vegan home system for their annual harvest festival. How, Krex asks weakly, did you do that? I listened to what they were really saying. They're not angry about Vex being captured. They're angry because the bounty system doesn't distinguish between actual criminals and political dissidents. So I suggested a review process. A review process. Due process is a human right. Well, a sapient being right, technically. Agent Flores is frantically taking notes. This is either the most successful diplomatic breakthrough in human history, or the most elaborate child custody case ever recorded. Why not both? Tommy asks. And that's when Krex realizes he's not just attached to his human cub anymore. He's proud of him. This small, impossible creature who treats interstellar diplomacy like a middle school group project and somehow makes it work. Tommy, he says carefully, what would you say if I told you that other bounty hunters might start targeting you specifically because you're making the rest of us look bad? Tommy grins. I'd say they better bring snacks because negotiation takes forever and I get cranky when I'm hungry. Krex looks at Agent Flores, who shrugs in the universal gesture of, this might as well happen, and enact training requirements. I would like to apply for legal guardianship of 1 human child, Tommy, under the provisions of the Interspecies Cultural Exchange Treaty. Is that a real treaty? It is now, Tommy says helpfully. I'm pretty sure we just wrote it. Of course, the universe has a sense of humor, and that sense of humor involves Commander Zilch receiving a strongly worded memo from the Galactic Council's Department of Xenobiological Ethics, just as Kregs is starting to feel like maybe things are working out. The emergency hologram materializes in the middle of what Tommy calls Taco Tuesday, which is apparently a sacred human tradition that involves assembling food components in a specific geometric pattern. Krex! Zilch tentacles are doing that thing they do when he's simultaneously panicked and trying to look important. We have a problem. A big problem. A career-ending, exile to the outer rim kind of problem. Let me guess, Tommy says, not looking up from his taco construction project. Someone figured out that humans aren't actually harmless zoo animals. How did you... Yes, exactly. Dr. Neron from the research division did a full behavioral analysis based on your reports, and apparently humans are classified as a Class 7 Death World species. Class 7? Krex dropped his own taco attempt. That's the same classification as Chronix battle lizards. What's a Chronix battle lizard? Tommy asks. Apex predators, from a planet where the gravity is 3 times Earth normal and it rains acid. Yikes. Well, to be fair, humans did evolve on a planet where literally everything is trying to kill us. Weather, animals, plants, other humans, bacteria, our own food allergies. The Council wants the human returned to Earth immediately, Zilch continues, his panic levels rising. They're saying that keeping a Class 7 species as an exhibition specimen violates about 47 different galactic treaties. But I don't want to go back to Earth, Tommy says reasonably. I like it here. I've got college applications to think about, and interstellar diplomat looks really good on a resume. It doesn't matter what you want, Zilch wails. The Ethics Committee is sending Inspector Grok to retrieve you personally. He'll be here in 6 hours. Agent Flores, who has been quietly observing this exchange while eating what might be the first alien pre-compared Mexican food in government history, suddenly perks up. Wait, they're sending someone to forcibly relocate a human child without consulting Earth authorities? Well, yes, but that's kidnapping. Also potentially an act of war, depending on how you look at treaty law. It's not kidnapping if we're returning him to his home planet. Without his consent, or the consent of his legal guardian. Flores pulls out her phone. I need to make some calls. Tommy, meanwhile, has moved into what Krex recognizes as plotting mode, which usually means someone is about to have a very bad day, but in a clever way that makes them think it was their own fault. Krex, Tommy says thoughtfully, what's Inspector Grek like? Facetious, bureaucratic, follows regulations to the letter. Completely humorless. Why? Just wondering, and he's coming here expecting to find a dangerous Class 7 Death World species being illegally held by a rogue bounty hunter, right? That's an accurate summary of the situation, yes. Tommy grins, and Krex feels that familiar combination of pride and terror that means his human is about to do something brilliant and possibly insane. Cool. I have a plan. 3 hours later, Inspector Grok's ship arrives to find what appears to be a crime scene. Crocs is sitting in his own brig looking defeated. Agent Flores is pacing around with official-looking paperwork, muttering about interspecies incidents and diplomatic immunity. There's no sign of Tommy anywhere. Inspector Grok is exactly what you'd expect from someone whose job title includes the word inspector. He's got 4 eyes, 6 arms, and the personality of a tax audit. Where's the human specimen, he demands, all 4 eyes scanning the ship. Bond, Krex says mournfully. Escaped 2 hours ago, disabled my security systems, stole a shuttle and disappeared into hyperspace. I've been trying to track him, but humans are apparently much more resourceful than we were led to believe. This is a disaster. The Council will have my tentacles. Actually, Agent Flores interjects, this might be for the best. If the human child is indeed from a Class 7 species, then he's probably safer on his own than in custody. Class 7 species are typically capable of surviving in hostile environments through superior adaptability and strategic thinking. But the regulations clearly state. So, if I might clobber them with the last set of species, usual conditions remain. The Indians will not resist until you resonate. At Class 7 species, cannot be held without their explicit consent. Tommy's voice says from somewhere in the ventilation system. I looked it up. Galactic Treaty 8407B, subsection C. Paragraph 12. Inspector Grok spins around, all 4 eyes trying to locate the source of the voice. Human, you will surrender yourself immediately. Can't do that, Inspector. I'm exercising my rights under the Class 7 Autonomous Species Protection Act. I choose to remain free. There is no such act. There is now. I just filed the paperwork with Agent Flores. She's a very thorough government representative. Agent Flores holds up her tablet. All properly notarized and submitted through the appropriate channels. The human has declared himself a free agent under the protection of Earth's government, with Krex as his chosen cultural liaison. This is highly irregular. Who is trying to kidnap a child from his legal guardian, Krex points out, standing up and casually stepping out of the brig, which was never actually locked. Especially when that child happens to be a member of a species that your own research division just classified as extremely dangerous. Inspector Grok is making frustrated clicking noises. But the original mission parameters were based on faulty intelligence, Tommy says, dropping down from a ceiling panel with the kind of casual grace that makes Krex simultaneously proud and concerned for galactic security. Humans aren't harmless zoo animals, Inspector. We're persistence hunters with opposable thumbs and social cooperation instincts. We turned wolves into lapdogs and figured out how to make fire because we were bored. Also, Agent Flores adds, attempting to forcibly relocate a human child is now officially considered an act of aggression against Earth. I've been authorized to inform you that any further attempts will be met with appropriate diplomatic responses. What kind of diplomatic responses? Inspector Grack asks nervously. Tommy and Flores exchanged a look. The kind that involve humans, Flores says ominously. Inspector Grack suddenly looks like he's reconsidering his career choices. Class 7 species have a reputation throughout the galaxy, and none of it involves being good zoo exhibits. So, Tommy says cheerfully, I think we're going to stay right here. Krex is an excellent guardian, I'm getting a fantastic education in interspecies relations, and Agent Flores has enough paperwork to keep the bureaucrats happy for years. This is not over, Inspector Grake declares, but he's already backing toward his ship. Actually, it kind of is, Tommy calls after him. Have a safe trip back, and tell Commander Zilch that his cultural exchange program is a huge success. As Inspector Grock's ship disappears into hyperspace, Krex looks at his human with a mixture of awe and concern. Tommy, he says carefully, how did you know about Galactic Treaty 847B? I didn't. I made it up. And the Class 7 Autonomous Species Protection Act? Also made up. The paperwork Agent Flores filed. Completely fabricated. Krex stares at him. So we just bluffed our way out of a galactic law enforcement situation using entirely fictional legal documents? Pretty much. Agent Flores grins. Welcome to human diplomacy, Krex. We've been winging it for thousands of years.